Kastor here. So a few of you have asked me what computer I use to edit my videos, and while I've bounced back and forth over the years between Apple computers and Windows-based PCs, I'm currently using the 17-inch XPS laptops from Dell. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about these laptops, what I love about them, what I don't, and some of the differences between this and something like a MacBook Pro. I will just start off by saying that this is a premium laptop from Dell. And when I heard that Dell was bringing back 17-inch XPS models around 2 years ago, I ordered one immediately, spec'd out with a 10th gen i7 from Intel, the higher resolution touchscreen, 32 gigabytes of RAM, and an NVIDIA 2060 inside. I've been using it as my primary computer ever since, so I've done a lot on this laptop. And I want to share my experience with you. And full disclosure, the shots in this video are of that model, but since it is virtually identical in appearance to the newest model, I want to talk about the newer specs available that have me really excited to potentially upgrade. First of all, the build quality of this laptop just looks and feels premium. From the machined aluminum chassis to the soft and super comfortable carbon fiber palm rest below the keyboard, this thing just feels high quality. Even the hinges on the screen feel sturdy and nothing is flimsy. The keyboard has been enjoyable to use, and although there is no number pad, I believe that this helped Dell to space out the keys just right for a comfortable typing experience. The keys are clicky but quiet and provide an adequate amount of travel for me anyway. Thankfully, they also provided backlit keys, which is a nice touch for when I'm working late and need to see what I'm doing. So now my favorite part. As a creator that does video editing and some photo editing, I was all about the screen on this thing. These XPS laptop screens are gorgeous to look at. I'm blown away every time I turn it on. I have the 4K plus touchscreen model, and that is what I would recommend for this type of work. It is really bright at 500 nits and covers 100% of the Adobe RGB spectrum for awesome color accuracy. They decided to give us a nice 16:10 panel for that extra screen height that is very much appreciated in applications like Adobe Premiere, so I can see more of my timeline when I'm editing. For productivity, this thing is just awesome. In addition to all of that, they created a screen with a very thin bezel that they call an infinity edge display. That makes this a 17-inch laptop with comparable overall dimensions to laptops with smaller screens and larger bezels. So while I could talk about how much I love the screen on this laptop forever, let's get into the specs. The newest 2022 model is now equipped with 12th generation Intel chips, which is quite an upgrade in both single core and multi-core performance over the 10th gen chip in this one. The NVIDIA 2060 graphics card was upgraded to a 60 watt version of the 3060 for nice improvements to GPU performance as well. We now have super fast DDR5 RAM, which I believe you can spec all the way up to something like 64 gigabytes if you need that much memory. There's a fingerprint reader built into the keyboard that doubles as your power on button. And although the webcam quality is just okay at 720p, there must have been some improvements or tweaks to the microphones because the audio sounds much more clear than my original model. Oh, and the camera is also an infrared camera, which allows you to log into Windows using facial recognition with Windows Hello, which I have really grown to love. It is so convenient not to have to type in my password or enter my PIN every single time I sit down at the computer. This laptop has a large 97 watt-hour battery that for most basic tasks like watching a video, browsing the web, or checking your email can last you at least a couple of hours, especially with the screen brightness turned down a little bit. With more intensive applications like video editing or gaming, that time is dramatically shortened, so I typically keep it plugged in when I'm doing that. The laptop has Intel Killer Wi-Fi 6 connectivity, which is plenty fast, and Bluetooth 5.2 for your wireless Bluetooth devices. For ports, we get 4 USB-C type Thunderbolt 4 ports that are DisplayPort compatible and accept power delivery from the 130 watt power adapter that comes with the computer. There is a Kensington style locking port on the side for securing your laptop, and thankfully a full-size SD card slot for transferring your media alongside a combo headphone microphone jack. While there is no USB-A port or HDMI port, Dell thankfully includes a small USB-C adapter in the box that includes both. The speakers get loud and sound really good compared to most laptops. Not quite MacBook Pro quality speakers in my opinion, but better than most for sure. The pre-installed audio enhancement software from Waves actually sounds pretty good turned on using the speakers, but threw me off the first time I started editing a video with headphones. So I would recommend turning that off when using headphones because I find it adds a reverb type effect that is really distracting, especially when you're doing critical audio work. Now, if it's not already obvious, I love these laptops. However, it wouldn't be a fair review not to mention some of the things that could make this maybe not the ideal laptop for you and make you consider something like a MacBook Pro. One of the big ones common with all Windows laptops, unfortunately, is that this laptop, hands down, performs much better when it's plugged in. Performance is seriously throttled when you're running on battery power. For me, that's not an issue because I have my laptop plugged in most of the time, but honestly, it's one of the main advantages that Apple's laptops have. You just get much better performance on battery power. So if you work a lot without the ability to plug this in, I might consider a MacBook Pro. Also, the 17-inch model is not that small or light, so I consider it more of a desktop replacement for me that I can easily bring with me if I have to. If you want something a little bit more portable, I would highly recommend checking out the XPS 15-inch model, although I really love that 17-inch screen. That one will fit in your bag a little bit easier. So I'm really nitpicking here, but the up and down arrows on the keyboard are a little bit small, and as I mentioned earlier, there's no number pad. For my use though, this isn't an issue. If I had a Dell suggestion box and I could ask for a few things, I can think of 3 things they could improve. I would prefer a slightly longer power cable, since I find myself needing an extension cord to reach the wall from my couch. I would prefer a 1080p webcam with better noise performance in low light. And although you know I love this screen, it is still a 60 Hz panel. Apple's MacBook Pros have 120 Hz variable refresh rate screens at this point with better local dimming due to their implementation of mini LED technology that really shines when you're viewing high-def HDR content, basically. Oh, and one more point for Apple. They're so power efficient. You just get much better battery life. So that's it. I love Dell's 17-inch XPS laptops. While I don't find the design to be all that inspiring, I love the screen, and they are sturdy and powerful machines, especially for content creation. And I would buy another one for sure. And you know what? Let me just make one last point for my fellow gamers out there. While Apple laptops are phenomenal, if you're like me and you want to wind down with a bit of gaming after a long day of work, Windows is my favorite place to do that. And while this Dell laptop by no means is a gaming computer, it's no slouch either with its dedicated graphics card. So work hard and be creative as much as you can, but let yourself off the hook at the end of the night and just enjoy everything this laptop can do, including games if you want to. So thanks for watching, guys. Kastor X, and I'll see you later.
Your time to run. Meteor strike!
Double, triple.
I'm on fire!
Quadruple kill.
Oh man, it's hot in here.